So I'm currently watching I'm currently watching Twilight Zone, not like the old one, but the 2019 one, where Jordan Peele, I think that's the right one. No, Key Kean? No. Fuck. Okay, the comedian duo, the two black dudes, um shorter, rounder face looking dude, and then skinnier, taller guy. Um the smaller dude. That dude um, kind of like intros in this, if that makes sense. But it's the 2019 um, Twilight Zone one, right? And I'm watching I believe it's the seventh episode of it. It's titled Not All Men. Um, yeah. Funnily enough, the lead looks like someone that I somewhat know of. I don't know them in like a literal sense. Like I don't. You know what I mean? Like I kind of know I kind of only know of them through a screen, if that makes sense. Not the lead, the person that they remind me of. But funnily enough, if that person watches the show and they also listen to this video, then they'll probably understand that's referring to them. But I don't know, that would be like a very not not odd coincidence per se, but it would be I think it would be a very unlikely series of events to happen for them to watch that show, this show, as well as listen to this video and understand that it's referring to them. Well, I guess it would just be those two things. If they do um, the first two things, and the third thing would kind of come. Anyways, so I'm watching this, right, and you kind of understand where I got the idea from. Like if you watch the episode. But basically, my mind started going. I'm not going to tell you like what inspired it. You know, it's the episode, but if you watch it, then you'll understand. That was really redundant. Sorry. Um, but basically, I thought of it, and the only way, or not the well, no, not the only way, but like I guess like like the most immediate way besides like pepper spray would be to have to essentially turn your body into a weapon, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it would be nice if you could have a little contraption, um, essentially like in your mouth, if that makes sense, where you can essentially blow out some kind of knockout gas or something that if someone breathes in, they just instantly faint, you know, or instantly fall unconscious, or you have some kind of uh, like I guess chemical reaction or something that you can put on like your fingertips, but on what's it called? I don't know, but maybe on like silicone fingertips. Um, that where then if you touch someone, then they just fall unconscious or something. Basically, something where it's discreet, or like so sudden that they wouldn't be able to react to it. Pretty much. That way, if someone is super close to you, but you need to get away, then you just essentially you would kind of just like breathe towards them with like the device, and then they would get knocked out. They would fall unconscious. It sounds so stupid when I say it out loud. Like I know what I mean by all of this, but I can't quite explain it properly. Um, but yeah, when I thought about like I don't know, like let's say let's just go with like the oral device, the oral knockout device, right? Where you have that, and then you give that to your partner, um, you know, and I think realistically when you just think about it, and especially the person that has it, when they think about it, they'll realize that there's power that comes with that device essentially. What I mean by that is once you use it once, you realize the power you have with it. You know, you know what I mean. It's easy to say that you would be the responsible kind of person where you would only use it on people that are basically that are fucking with you. You know what I mean? That are messing with you. Um, you know, but I could easily see intrusive thoughts spanning the edges of your mind, um, that are pretty much egging you on to just do it to any annoying ass asshole. You know what I mean? You know, but yeah, in reality, it's the safest way to operate in a society to not really be part of the society, if that makes sense. You know, essentially, and like I don't know, that's kind of like the sad part of people that are like that go out to clubs or go out to restaurants or just go out in general for just social reasons. You know what I mean? Like it's the most unsafe way to live possible, you know? And it doesn't mean like stay inside forever and never leave your house. Realistically, you could do that, in all honesty. Like, you could actually do that and be perfectly fine as a person. I think so. That's what I do mostly. The only reason I leave now is to go to work. Um, or like go up the street to get food. Like tomorrow morning, I'm gonna go, well, up to where I work and then buy another shirt so I can stop having to wash the same shirt and pants every day, and I can actually just have two. That way I can alternate them and wash a little less. You know what I mean? Granted, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't take anything but time. I'm not. I don't use. I don't need to use money to wash my clothes every day. So yeah, it's just. It's like an hour max. You know what I mean? And it's really just because you're essentially just hand washing clothes and you lay them out to dry. You know what I mean? Which is pretty fucking great. Pretty awesome. If you don't wear much clothing, then you just hand wash clothes and then you lay them out to dry, and it's fucking awesome. You save so much time, you save money. It's great. You know, you know what I mean. But but yeah, well, you could realistically, especially if you have money, you know, you could just stay inside. It's like, I don't know. It's not even like about having money. You could not really have much, but you just have things that you enjoy doing, and you sink a shit ton of time into whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Or you could have just enough so that you can survive, and then build something on the side that will eventually make you money, like a game, for example. Again, my brain always goes back to games. It always. Oh, speaking of that, I bought I think it's called a Sprite. I think that's what the thing's called. Hold on. A sep a Sprite? Fuck. I don't actually know how to pronounce it. I just realized that. But Prite. The letters are super tiny on the taskbar. Um, but I bought it. It's like $20. But you can make sprites, and you can make sprites and animations and stuff. You know what I mean. And the best part is like the what's it called? What's it called? Like the board, not board, but the ooh, it's not really a graph though. I guess like the checkered background of the entire thing is so large that you could make like actual large detailed sprites. You know what I mean? So think of like I don't know if you've seen Guilty Gear, but it's a game. They've also I think at one point they made like a little anime around it too. Um, but it's a Guilty Gear is a fighting game, right? But the sprites are super 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 detailed. But it's just a pixel fighting game. That's all it is. It's a pixel. It's a pixel or it's a 2D fighting game where everything's pixels basically. You know what I mean? Which means you had maybe you had one artist, maybe you had multiple. I don't know, and then you had programmers that made the game. You know what I mean? And you had animators, but animators are essentially just pixel artists that just then do then do animations and stuff. You know, but I mean, maybe there's two different people. You know, maybe you have one person does animate or that does the actual sprite for it, and then you have another person that does the animations because maybe the person that can actually make the character isn't very good at animating, so they don't do it. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah. But sorry. Um, but yeah, you know what I mean. And I'm pretty sure there's even like AI tools out there where you can turn pictures into pixels. You know, and like you could basically pixelate pictures. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then I also noticed how like um I see them every now and then, but there's like it's like these. Okay, they're these. Okay, mm, they're gifs, right? Or gifs of it's okay. It's like an entire pixelated thing, but it's just like this. Sometimes they're like cosmic sceneries, or it's just like rain with like a person standing in it, or another one I saw was like a person that was like in the doorway, where the doorway that they were in on the other side of it was light, and the light was shining towards the foreground, casting light on the ground, with the room being dark. But it's all just pixels, and I realized that as I was looking at it, and I knew that the entire time, but like ever since I started using this software, um, when I noticed it, it makes it more and more interesting. You know, in reality, all it really is a simple drawing. At least from my perspective, it's like a simple drawing that you could do. It's essentially like it's like a room, right? But it's just really really minimalistic, and it's just an animation of pixels. You know, it's really 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 freaking cool. You know, really 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 cool. Um, but yeah, you know, uh, what I think is what I'm gonna do. Oh, sorry. Um, but yeah, you know, but I'm gonna do that. You know, I'm gonna work on the gaming game that I'm doing, and I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take big inspiration from Let It Die and have like the menu essentially be located in like a maybe not a computer of sorts, but I think it's gonna be located um on like a podium in a room, and you're essentially standing at this podium. Um, and I don't know, maybe not at a podium, but maybe I don't know, maybe you're sitting in a chair using a device, you know, and when the game shuts off, it plays an animation of the screen leaving your field of view the same way it does in Let It Die. So like I would say look up the transition from, or I mean, I don't know, I guess like I guess just play the game pretty much. In the first like 30 minutes of you playing Let It Die, you'll understand what I mean when you as like the person playing the game, you can leave the Let It Die Tower game out into like the little arcade area or the cafe area or whatever it is, whatever it's called, with the three people with Uncle Death sitting in front of you and the tip dude and then the quest girl at the counter, you know. But kind of like that basically, where you would essentially it would kind of just be like a miniature shelf along the wall, and then like it would be like a miniature shelf behind you because you're sitting in the chair turned around from the shelf and the system is behind you. You know, I think the system that's kind of running everything would kind of just be this cube, basically. I would say it would be like this cube type thing. But that would essentially just be a computer, but it's more of like a souped up computer, basically. So instead of yeah, so instead of the PC being like the standard rectangle things we have, it would kind of it would essentially be as if you had like three if well no if you had like a souped up like the most maxed out PC you could possibly have, but you have three of them and they all just they're all it should but it's one giant PC pretty much, if that makes sense, you know. But that would pretty much exist there, if that makes sense, in that room. But that would be behind you, and you sit in the chair, maybe using some kind of VR thing or something. I don't fucking know. Um, yeah. But yeah. And I guess like the goal would be to slowly update that environment, um, to where you can actually walk around in it and look around. But I can easily still I can make that environment at least with like the pixel thing that I have, you know, and then give it as much depth as I want because it's just like a drawing, you know. You're just looking at something from a point of view, which means you can draw the entire thing out as deep as you want it to be, you know, like the digital art pieces where people can like just keep zooming in forever. Oh, sorry, I'm tired. It's like 3 in the morning. Um, if people can like just keep zooming in forever, and it's really just because they started with one picture, they drew it, and then they drew that, and well, I don't know how it works, but I guess like they draw a picture and then they draw something else around it, and then that functions as the person's eye, or like some kind of like small piece in another bigger picture that they're gonna draw all around it. Um, and they draw around that, and then they make that into something. They place that into something. Maybe it's in someone's eye, or maybe it's in a cup, or maybe it's in like a gleam of something, and then that goes into something else, and then blah 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 blah. Right? So you have like 3 or 4 or 5 pictures inside of one giant canvas, basically, which can only, funnily enough, only be experienced through digital medium because you can't do that in real life. You know, you can only get so much depth in real life. Now, technically, you could do it in real life. You would have to use a magnifying glass to see the rest of it. You know. Um. So yeah. You know. But yeah, I think the best part is like with like Steam, right? I could just put out the game and like to where you can play what I have. You know what I mean? And then I can just update it over time, because I don't. For me personally, I don't see the point in making multiple games when you can just make one game and update it forever. You know what I mean? You know? Oh, excuse me. Like, I don't see the point in doing that. You know? Now, I think there would be a difference if I had like one game and it's kind of like in a way my trial game that I just keep updating and updating and updating. So much so that I have like a bunch of little mini games in it. Um, you know, and then I have like a somewhat bigger game that has like a good gameplay loop. You know what I mean? and then I use this to kind of get all my ideas out, and then I slowly build a community around it, gain a following of some sort. And the only point of really gaining a following in my case is just monies. You know what I mean? So that people can give me monies so I can then hire people to help me, you know, um, with what I want, that or gain enough money to be able to, um, either fix my car or get a new one so then I can do another job that gets me more money that then I can use that money to pay people to help me. Either way, the point is I can pay people to help me. Um, you know, and then we could easily just release something else that has a small gameplay loop that has like some kind of incentive for you to spend money. You know what I mean? And I think the funniest thing about all of this is that for like a small thing like this, it could be as simple as like how like mobile or just any of these games, right? Where so like you could even have like some kind of starter pack thing, right? But the starter pack thing in this case could be that when you pay for it, depending on which one you pay for, or no, I mean fuck that. Like if you pay for the starter pack thing, then you essentially contribute to the development of this game, of the entire universe essentially. You know, not even in just like the monetary aspect of it, but in the sense that like let's say like there's no materials, right? Well, when you contribute with the starter pack, you literally get to create a material, you know. You are the person that gets to create a material, and your account is now linked to the core of that material, so that now anytime that material is mined or well, yeah, I guess just yeah. Anytime that material is mined, you get a piece of it. Meaning, literally, when it's mined, a piece of it then breaks off of the ore or whatever it is automatically, and it gets sent to your account. If that makes sense, because you are the originator of that piece. You are essentially the god of the concept of that piece. You know what I mean? You know. And at any point, you can choose. Um, Well, okay, I wouldn't take it that far. I can say that at any point you could choose how much of the percentage, what percentage of the piece you take every time it's mined. But that would be a bit much in the beginning. You know what I mean? I think that would be like a kind of big update thing. You know what I mean? Where there's like some kind of I don't know, whatever. Anyways, um, but yeah, or maybe it's like you have an ore or like you have a weapon, or you create a concept of a weapon or you create a concept of anything, you know what I mean? You know? And you essentially just become effectively the originator of that piece and then a mythology forms around you. You know what I mean? But that could be the trade off. That could be the trade off where for your ability to have like immense influence and yeah, influence have like a piece of influence over this reality, over this new digital reality, a myth is built around you, you know. Um, but it could be a thing where every myth is and is not true. What I mean by that is it's not true as in it's literally a myth, but it is true as in essentially the creator god of all of this reality, aka me, deems it so, you know. So like if a character and by that the only people that can actually add towards your myth are new people essentially, you know what I mean? Or I would say like the first 100 myths about you are true and everything else is just myth pretty much, you know what I mean? um you know. And then what you could do is you could actually have like a giant ledger that is like buried somewhere, but it's like it's actually somewhere in the world, pretty much, and you can only move it once someone finds it. But you know, or like you can only move it once someone finds it and you find it. Essentially, like if someone finds it, you're then kind of pinged to where your ledger is, your myth ledger essentially is, and then you can go to it. But the ping is only like every like 24 hours or something, Uh, it's only every 24 hours, something like that. Sorry, I yawned again. Um, you know, so yeah, but you essentially then have to get the ledger from them, um, and then you can hide it somewhere, and but you have to like choose, um, you have to like pick a location to hide it in. Did I just? Oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. No, my laptop keeps asking me to update, and I don't want to do it. Um, so I keep putting it off. Yep. Restart to install update. Yeah. Um, but yeah, so essentially for you contributing with like the starter pack of whatever the fuck, then that would give you like the equivalent of, so like let's say like like the in-game currency, right? Usually you would end up, people, I mean, I don't know, a good chunk of games do it so that you can't pay $1. It's like $8 or like $10 or something, you know what I mean? But I do a thing where like you can pay $1, or you can pay as much as you want at a time, right? At first, there's like obviously nothing you can really spend it with, but so it's really just like a contribution type thing. But we would do a thing where, oh, excuse me, sorry, we would do a thing where when you buy currency, you have 24 hours to literally email us, or not even email, just like send a screenshot of send a screenshot of your receipt, basically, of the purchase. And the point of it is so that you get the actual, you get the amount. Obviously the amount will go to you. So like if you pay like $1 and like your tax is like 10 cents, right? You would get, let's say for example, 100 coins, right? But you obviously don't get like a 108. You would only get 100 coins. So the point is that that eight that point eight gets turned into essentially material, um uh ledgers, I guess, or not ledgers, but I guess material bonds, really, where you can cash in each material bond for like an amount of material, basically. So like let's say you have 8 material bonds. Okay, now you can get up to 8 materials, you know what I mean? you know which means you could just like keep them for as long as you want, and now you could just stack up bonds to be able to get materials, you know what I mean? you know um so yeah, I mean, but the point is that like we all know taxes fucking suck, but it's also sadly a necessary evil because things have to get done. Like the government has to fix shit. You know what I mean? Yes, sadly we don't have full control over what they actually use it on, but um, yeah. Granted, we could actually just do a lot of the shit that they don't want to do. You know what I mean? Like for example, like there was this dude that I kept hearing about occasionally through social media. He went around like California or some shit, and he fixed potholes or whatever, and he charged the city however much he charged the city for him fixing the potholes. You know what I mean? But shit like that, you know, you know what I mean. But like, yeah, like you could, I don't know, like start a company type thing, start a company, make a business, and then um slowly have it grow more and more and more, and then just now you just own whatever. I'm tired. I'm fucking tired, dude. But that's it. I don't know. I think I'm just tired. That's it. Bye bye. Thank you for listening.